just now it's all over the photography websites just now that Nikon are doing a second recall on one of their digital SLRs. So the Nikon D750 is having its second recall by Nikon. So Nikon is saying, oh, we've noticed that we've screwed up again. Potentially not them, but more their manufacturing plants have done something wrong. They've not had the right things at the time, and there's been a problem with the shutter mechanism. Now the Nikon D750 originally had a recall earlier in the year before, so the same style of camera, and that recall was because there was a weird internal reflection, because something right in front of where the mirror lockup, where the mirror is, was causing a reflection, and that was destroying some people's images. So Nikon was like, oh, we've screwed up here, send it back and we'll sort it out. And this one, it seems to be a shutter mechanism. So it's not the same problem, it's a different thing, but it's all very close to the same area. It's not like, oh, our LCD screen is the wrong color or something like that. It seems to be something all around where the lens, where the shutter is, and where the mirror is as well. So there's always a bit of a problem around there with the Nikon manufacturing stuff. Now, first of all, I would say good on Nikon. Well done for putting your hands up and saying, oh, something's gone wrong in our manufacturing plant for all cameras. I think it was between October and December that were made last year, 2015. Check your serial number and send it back to Nikon, and we'll sort it out and send it. So that is great. I think good, well done Nikon for admitting it, putting your hands up. I think the reason why Nikon is so quick to admit this is because a few years ago, when the Nikon D600 came out, there was a class action lawsuit put against Nikon to say, you've given us a defective cameras. There's oil splattering all over our lens, or all over our sensors, because you've screwed up somewhere. And I think that cost Nikon a huge amount of problems. So now they're just like, if we just do a recall is far better than a class action lawsuit. So I think that's why they're a bit more like, oh, right, we'll fix it. And they're saying they'll do it free of charge, including the postage, which is great. So it's annoying, but they're doing the right thing about it. The only slight worry or slight problem I still have with this is when you read the forums, when you read the comments, when you read other people that have had D750s and sent them off for repair and all that kind of stuff, the amount of negative stories of where the Nikon customer service has just screwed up monumentally is the worrying factor. So not the fact that, hey, you can send it off and get it fixed for free. It's the fact that I've heard people saying, hey, I sent off my D750 and they sent me back somebody else's D600. That was like an official one which I read earlier this morning. I'm like, oh, that's bad. Other people saying that they had to send their camera back 3 times. You know, like, hey, can you fix it? Send it back. Oh yeah, fixed it. No, you haven't. It's still got exactly the same problem. Send it back 3 times until they end up having to go back to the store where they bought it from and just saying, give me a new one, instead of them trying to fix it because they're not fixing it. So I would be happy with Nikon doing what they're doing if all I was hearing was great praise about, hey, I sent it to Nikon, they sent it back, I even got a free lens cloth, some pitch like that, and everyone's all super happy. But the amount of stories where I hear people say, send it back, like I've only heard a couple of good stories. Like a good story is, hey, I sent it to Nikon and 10 working days later, so in other words, a fortnight later, they sent it back and it was fine. But that's one out of maybe 10 other stories where they say, I sent it to Nikon, 3 months later, I still haven't got it back for them, or they've sent it to another customer. That's the worrying thing. So recalls are fine as long as and the thing is, the customer service will be different for each country that you're in. They don't all get sent off to Japan, or more likely where they're actually all made nowadays in Thailand. They're sent off to some repair guy somewhere, usually if you're in America, in your state. You know, Nikon will have a contract with certain repair companies, or they have certain stores where they'll do the repairs in there. But yeah, it's the negative amount of stories about the poor customer service and effectiveness of the repairs is the worrying bit about this. And legitimately, a lot of people are saying, hey, I see my camera serial number is in the affected bunch, the affected batch, but I'm not noticing any problems with my photos. Should I bother sending it in to get repaired? Because it is a massive, like, I don't see any problems, but if I send it in, I'm gonna have to deal with paperwork and emails and postage and packaging and all that faff for what? That's the question. So if you are noticing that your camera is definitely having a problem and it is affecting your work, 100% go and do the recall and, you know, send it off and deal with that. If your camera is in the batch that supposedly have this problem, but you've never noticed the problem, I would be tempted to just kind of hold off until you've read through all the forums and you've heard, until you start hearing good reports of going, hey, I got it back within a week, it was brilliant, and they even reset the shutter count. Score! Not often is that going to happen.